Tonight, you're traveling back in time. Not to the glittering palaces of emperors or the bustling markets of ancient legends, but to the quiet villages and smoky streets of early 18th century Qing China. So dim the lights, get comfortable, and let your imagination drift as you step into the world of Qing China, where every quiet street hides a story, and every breath of sweet-smelling smoke carries the promise of comfort and the risk of ruin. The world is quiet now. Let your body relax and drift gently back in time, to the early 1700s, to a land cloaked in mist and mystery, to an empire so old and vast, it was called the Middle Kingdom, China. Breathe in and imagine the towering walls of the Forbidden City. Silken robes brushing against polished stone, incense curling in the air. Now, adrift across the sea toward an island wrapped in rain and fog. Britain in this age was obsessed with something simple, something elegant. Tea. Yes, it's a tea. That gentle drink you might be sipping now, it wasn't just a beverage, it was a craze. In every London salon and every corner shop, people were drinking Chinese tea. Green, black, oolong, delicate leaves steeped in boiling water, a little escape from the damp gray of daily life. But there was a problem. You see, the British Empire had a mighty thirst. In China? Well, China didn't want anything in return. Britain would bring clocks, wool, cotton, but the Chinese emperors waved them away. We have everything we need, they said. The only thing they would take? Silver. And so, silver poured out of Britain like water, cascading into China. The balance tipped. Britain grew nervous. They needed something, anything, to trade back. And that's when they remembered opium. Not a medicine, not anymore. A quiet poison. Grown in British-controlled India. Sticky, earthy. A drug that could bend minds and make men forget. At first, just a few crates, hidden among other goods. Slipped into southern ports like Canton. No announcements. No loud arrivals. Just a whisper, from ship to shore, a pipe lit behind closed doors. One puff, then another, and the world softened. The British East India Company had found their solution, and the balance of trade? Well, it started to shift. In Guangdong province, in narrow alleyways behind the spice markets, men began to gather, rich and poor, officials and laborers, all drawn by the same hazy hunger. Opium dens bloomed like weeds. A farmer, weary from years of toil, takes a small pipe and forgets the weight of his fields. A scholar, once bright-eyed and full of dreams, lets the smoke wrap around him like silk and drifts away from his books. Even palace guards, even ministers in dragon robes, they begin to sway. Eyes dull, voices slow, time slips through their fingers. Back in London, teacups clink. And in secret boardrooms, British merchants smile. The silver flows once more, but this time into their pockets. The empire of tea had become the empire of smoke. But high above the haze, in the golden halls of Beijing, the emperor begins to notice. A faint rot beneath the surface, reports of soldiers 2 days to march. Ships arriving full, but leaving empty. And worst of all, the strange hollowness in the eyes of his advisors. What is this poison, he wonders? What is creeping into the heart of my empire? And now, as the night deepens, as candlelight flickers on ancient scrolls, a name appears, one man, with a fire in his soul. Commissioner Lin Zexu. But that is a story for another chapter. Close your eyes again, and feel the mist rising over the southern coast of China. The year is now 1830. The air is thick with the scent of salt, silk, and smoke. Not firewood, not incense, but opium. The ships keep coming, one after another, from British-controlled India to the ports of southern China. Opium, pressed into dark bricks, hidden in crates marked spices or cotton. And when the crates are opened, silence, no outrage, no resistance, because by now the people have changed. The farmers? They gather in huts after work, pipes glowing in the dark. Their hands, once rough from tilling the earth, now tremble as they reach for another taste. The merchants? They smile through yellowed teeth, counting silver as families fall into debt. And the officials, the ones sworn to protect the empire? Even they have fallen. Behind palace walls, even in the forbidden city itself. The sweet smoke curls beneath golden dragons and painted beams. Eyes glaze, words slur. Edicts are forgotten before they are even written. The emperor sits on his throne, but the throne is sinking. He senses it. A heaviness in the air, a deep sickness in his people. The once mighty Qing Dynasty is rotting from the inside. He calls for reports, and the numbers terrify him. Tens of thousands now addicted, tons of opium entering every year, millions of silver coins flowing out. China, once the center of the world, is now being drained, quietly. Let's drift for a moment to the city of Canton. Walk with me down a narrow stone street. The lanterns flicker. The air is thick with perfume, smoke, and decay. Behind wooden doors you hear soft laughter, low murmurs, and coughing, always coughing. Inside, young men recline on silk cushions. They hold delicate pipes like chopsticks. They barely speak. Eyes like glass, dreams like dust. They have no use for books. No plans for tomorrow. Outside, a mother waits. She sold her comb, her bracelet, her hope. Her husband, once a farmer, is inside, a ghost of himself. She whispers his name, but he doesn't hear her. Meanwhile, across the sea, the British merchants are thriving. They sip wine, they toast to trade, they count silver by the chest. The East India Company grows richer with each shipment. They do not see the damage, or perhaps they choose not to. To them, opium is not a drug. It is a solution. A way to fix the trade imbalance. A way to gain footholds in Chinese ports. A way to break open the gates of an empire too proud to trade. But in China, the empire begins to whisper. A question soft but growing louder. Who will stop this? As if called by fate, a man arrives, Commissioner Lin Zexu. Eyes sharp like a blade, a man of letters but also of fire. He bows before the emperor and says, "Give me the authority, and I will cleanse the nation." The emperor agrees, and with ink on paper, Lin becomes the most powerful man in the empire. Now the winds shift. Now the tide begins to turn. Lin writes letters to the Queen of Britain, asking her, politely, firmly, "Would you allow poison to be sold in your country?" There is no answer, so Lin takes action, bold action. He shuts the ports, he arrests the smugglers, he confiscates the drug. And then, in a public square in Canton, he orders the destruction. Thousands of crates, mountains of opium, drenched with lime and salt water, destroyed, in front of everyone. The smoke this time is not from pipes, but from justice. The people cheer. Lin stands tall. But across the sea, in British Parliament halls, a different reaction brews. Whispers, anger, accusations. Property destroyed, trade disrupted, an insult to our crown. The merchants are furious, the navy is summoned. Ships are loaded, cannons prepared, the first winds of war begin to blow. But not a war of armies clashing loudly in fields. No, this war would be quiet, like opium itself. And so, in the year 1839, as stars shimmer over the South China Sea, the sails of British warships rise like shadows. The first opium war begins. But that, dear listener, is where we must pause, for the next act is filled with heartbreak, entreaties, and the slow unraveling of a once great empire. Let your eyes grow heavy now, let your breath slow. We'll return soon, to see what happens when the dragon is wounded, and the porcelain begins to crack. Rest easy now. Let your thoughts wander. We are still in China, still within the folds of a grand silk robe, stitched with dragons, now fraying at the edges. It is the spring of 1839. The empire holds its breath. On one side, a scholar warrior with fire in his pen and justice in his heart, Commissioner Lin Zexu. On the other, the smoke-choked traders of the West, sailing under the red banner of the British crown. This is not just a war over goods, it is a war over morality. Imagine the southern port city of Canton again, but now, it is no longer silent. The streets are filled with soldiers, posters nailed to bamboo poles, proclamations inked in red. Lin Zexu stands on a balcony, his robe rustling in the sea breeze. Below, crates upon crates of opium are being stacked, ready for destruction. They came from smugglers, from merchants, from corrupted Chinese officials. All now brought to justice, and then, in front of a vast crowd, 1,300 tons of opium is dumped into trenches, poured over with lime, and washed into the sea. The smoke rises, the salt stings. It is not just a fire, it is a message. China will not be broken. But far away, in the halls of Whitehall, in London's smoky offices and tea rooms, the British traders are fuming. They say, "Our property, our cargo. This is an act of war." War becomes reality. British gunboats, sleek, ironclad and deadly, begin to sail toward the southern coast of China. They do not come with letters. They come with cannons. China, for all her vastness, was not prepared. Her navy, built for river patrols and ceremonial displays, was no match for British warships with iron hulls and long-range guns. The British opened fire at the mouth of the Pearl River. They bombard Chinese forts. They blockade ports. They seize ships. It is quick. It is brutal. It is silent in its certainty. For every volley fired from the Qing army, the British return tenfold. Towns fall. Coastal cities surrender. Not because they believe the British are righteous, but because they have no choice. The war is not between equals. Commissioner Lin writes again. He pleads with the emperor. He sends dispatches daily. We cannot match their weapons. We must not yield to their poisons. Our people, they suffer. But the emperor, buried deep in the forbidden city, receives the letters with growing discomfort. He had once praised Lin. Now, he begins to wonder, was this war worth it? The British march forward. Each day another treaty offered. Each day another refusal. Until finally, the Qing court relents. Not because they believe they were wrong, but because the empire is tired. So very tired. In 1842, aboard a British ship in the Yangtze River, China signs what will be known as the Treaty of Nanking. This is no ordinary treaty. This is a wound written in ink. It demands that China open 5 ports to British trade, grant British citizens extraterritorial rights, meaning British subjects are no longer subject to Chinese law, pay 21 million silver dollars in reparations, and most painfully of all, cede the island of Hong Kong to Britain. It is the first time in thousands of years that the Middle Kingdom has lost territory to a foreign power, and it will not be the last. Commissioner Lin Zexu is dismissed, not for failure, but for embarrassment. He is sent into internal exile, his name blackened in court gossip. The man who tried to stop the poison is now treated as if he had brought it. He leaves Canton with slow, silent steps, but history would not forget him. For Lin Zexu was a man who fought not for glory, but for his people's soul. Back in London, the treaty is celebrated. Merchants toast in candlelit dining halls. They sip their tea, Chinese tea, and light cigars made from Indian tobacco. They speak of honor, of trade, of success. But they do not speak of the tens of thousands of Chinese who now walk the streets in a daze. Of the children who cannot afford rice, because their fathers gave their last coin to the opium man. They do not speak of the shame. China stands now as an empire with a bleeding wound, still proud, still ancient, but no longer unshakable. More foreign powers smell weakness. France, Russia, the United States. Each demands their own treaty, their own piece of the Middle Kingdom. The dragon has been wounded, the tiger has been cornered. And so begins a new chapter in Chinese history, one of foreign spheres and quiet desperation, of rebellion and slow decay. But rest now, we will return soon, for the next part of our journey, where rebellions rise, opium returns, and the Qing Dynasty, like old porcelain, begins to crack beyond repair. Breathe softly now. Feel the distant ache of a wounded empire. The year is 1842. And China has just signed the Treaty of Nanking. A once proud dynasty has bowed. Not from the clash of armies, but from the pressure of silver, smoke, and guns. But this is not the end. It is only the beginning of something deeper, something far more tragic. The ink has barely dried on the Treaty of Nanking. When other nations begin to knock on China's door, one by one, they come not with offerings, but with demands. France, the United States, Russia, Germany, all insist on their own unequal treaties. If Britain can have ports, why not us? If Britain gets silver, why not us? If Britain can own land, why not all of us? And so begins what Chinese historians would one day call the century of humiliation. The empire, once sealed from outsiders, is now wide open. 5 treaty ports become 10, then 15, then more. Each foreign power carves its slice. Each demands extraterritorial rights, meaning they no longer answer to Chinese law. Foreign soldiers walk through Chinese cities. Foreign merchants open banks, schools, and churches. Foreign ships patrol Chinese rivers. And everywhere, Chinese people begin to whisper, in fear, in shame, in grief, when did we lose our sovereignty? Let's wander for a moment into the once proud city of Shanghai. The streets are busy, yes, but listen closely. Do you hear Chinese voices? Not in the banks, not in the courts, not in the police stations. Foreigners hold the keys to power. British judges, French customs officers, American traders. Even the signs are no longer in Mandarin. They are in English, in French, in languages that few Chinese had ever spoken before now. And yet, amid this quiet takeover, the poison continues. Opium, though once destroyed by Commissioner Lin, returns in greater waves than ever. The ports are open now, and so is the market. Even more ships, even more crates, even more pipes in trembling hands. By the 1850s, China is addicted not just in body, but in spirit. The emperor's court knows, but it is helpless. Local officials know, but many are already being paid in opium. Even Confucian scholars, once the soul of Chinese virtue, write essays on morality, with opium stains on their fingers. But it is not just foreign humiliation, or quiet addiction, that threatens the dynasty now. Inside China, trouble is growing. Out in the countryside, a man named Hong Xiuquan begins to preach. He claims to be the younger brother of Jesus Christ. He says he has been sent to cleanse China of corruption, of foreign influence, of opium. His followers, called the Taiping, grow rapidly, not in hundreds, but in millions. They believe the Qing have lost the mandate of heaven. They believe the time has come for a new China, a purer China, a holy China. They march from village to village, burning opium dens, distributing land, and chanting their strange foreign prayers. By 1853, the Taiping rebels have taken Nanjing, a major city, once a Ming capital. They rename it the Heavenly Kingdom of Great Peace, and it becomes the beating heart of the greatest civil war the world had ever seen, until the 20th century. The Taiping rebellion lasts for over a decade. More than 20 million die. Yes, you heard right. 20 million. Farms burn. Rivers fill with bodies. Whole provinces fall into chaos. The Qing fight to hold on, but their enemies are everywhere, from within, from without. Meanwhile, the British and French decide one war wasn't enough. They find an excuse, some minor insult, some customs incident, and demand more justice. Thus begins the Second Opium War in 1856. This time, it is even more devastating. British and French troops march into Beijing itself. They loot the Summer Palace, an ancient garden filled with poetry, art, and jade. They burn it, destroy it. Reduce centuries of imperial beauty to smoke and ash. The emperor flees. He hides in the mountains. His court collapses in shame. Another treaty is signed, the Treaty of Tientsin. It grants more ports, more silver, and legalizes the opium trade entirely. Yes, opium is now officially protected, by treaty, by law, by guns. Imagine that, the very poison that started the collapse, is now legal, accepted, and even profitable. All the emperor can do is watch from afar. He is no longer the son of heaven. He is a hostage in his own country. And still the pipes burn, and still the smoke curls, and still the dragon dreams of a time when it soared freely above the clouds. But that time is gone. The Qing Dynasty, once the strongest in the world, now rules only in name. Foreign flags wave in every port. Foreign coins ring louder than the emperor's edicts. and foreign soldiers stand guard on Chinese soil. Rest now. Let your breath fall gently, for the final act awaits, where the dynasty, like a fading lantern, will struggle to stay alight, until even that glow is lost to time and history. Take one more deep breath, let your body soften, and follow the last flickering light of an empire on the edge of silence. It is now the late 1800s. The Qing Dynasty still stands, but just barely. Like an ancient vase, cracked, chipped, held together by habit and hope. The dragon still curls across palace doors, but its eyes are dim, its claws dulled, his breath thin. The Taiping Rebellion has ended, but the scars remain, in the land, in the hearts, in the people. And the poison, it still flows. Opium, now legalized by treaty, is everywhere. There are more pipes than prayers, more addicts than soldiers. Even children know the scent, bitter, sweet, and deadly. The emperor, now older, now quieter, receives reports with shaking hands. This village has lost its harvest. That official cannot stay awake in meetings. These ports are under full foreign control. He does not answer. What could he say? His words no longer hold power. His robes are still gold, but his soul feels gray. Beyond the forbidden city, the world is changing. Steamships puff across oceans. Railways cut through mountains. Telegraph wires carry words faster than horses ever could. But China? China resists. It clings to the old ways, to paper fans, not engines, to calligraphy, not rifles, to dreams, not blueprints. And the world? It grows impatient. The West, no longer content with ports and silver, now wants influence, control. Foreign missionaries walk village roads, preaching a new gospel. Foreign companies buy up land, open mines, build banks. China's soil no longer feels like hers alone. Among the people, unrest brews once more. Secret societies whisper by candlelight. Fists are clenched. Eyes are wide. They speak of restoring China. They speak of revenge. They call themselves the Boxers. The Boxer Rebellion in 1899 is a final scream in the darkness, a last-ditch cry from farmers and monks who believe they can drive the foreigners out. They chant spells, believing bullets cannot harm them. They burn churches, attack railways, kill missionaries and converts. They march under red banners, believing the spirits of their ancestors will shield them. But the foreign powers respond as one. 8 nations, Britain, France, Germany, Russia, the US, Japan, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, form an alliance. They send a massive army into China. The Boxers fight bravely, but the rifles don't care. The spells don't work. Villages burn. Cities fall. Beijing is occupied. Again, the Qing court, paralyzed with fear, refuses to lead. The Empress Dowager Cixi flees into the mountains. And when the rebellion ends, another treaty, another payment, another scar. This one costs 450 million taels of silver, and allows foreign troops to stay in China indefinitely. It is no longer a kingdom. It is a glass puppet. Its strings pulled from overseas. Now, let us sit in the twilight. Let us watch the last flickers of an age. It is the year 1908. The Empress Dowager dies. The Emperor dies the same day. Some say she had him poisoned. Some say it was fate. He had no children, only a nephew. So, the throne is passed to a little boy, a child, just 2 years old. He is named Pui. And he will be China's last emperor. The dynasty is now a shadow. Foreign schools rise. Republican ideas circulate. Students read about democracy, about revolution. In secret by lantern light. And in 1911, the spark catches. It begins with soldiers. It spreads to provinces. It swells like a rising tide. A revolution. Quiet, swift, unstoppable. The Qing send orders, but no one listens. The army switches sides. The governor switches sides. Even the capital turns its gaze elsewhere. And on a quiet day in February 1912, a document is placed before the child emperor. A paper, an end, the abdication, the fall. The seal is pressed. The dragon is no more. And so the Qing Dynasty, a dynasty that once ruled over 1/3 of the world's population, that stood for nearly 3 centuries, that built gardens and palaces, that wore silk and spoken poetry, is gone. Not in a blaze of glory, but in silence, in smoke, in shame, in opium. So now, as your eyes grow heavy, and your thoughts drift like lanterns on a still lake, remember this. Empires do not always fall with earthquakes and fire. Sometimes, they fall with a whisper. With a sigh. With a pipe lit in the dark. And sometimes, the greatest poison is not in the body, but in the soul. Sleep now, and let the past remain where it belongs, quiet still, and remembered. The abdication of the last emperor, Pui, in 1912 marked the end of over 2,000 years of imperial rule in China. The Qing dynasty, broken by war, foreign interference, internal rebellions, and the deep rot of corruption, left behind a nation deeply fractured and vulnerable. But the end of the Qing did not bring peace. It ushered in an era of uncertainty, chaos, and transformation. Dubbed the birth of the Republic of China. Following the abdication, a new hope emerged. A rejection of imperial authority in favor of democracy, nationalism, and modernization. Sun was a visionary dreaming of a modern, united China. But his power was short-lived. Instead of unity, China fractured into regions controlled by warlords, military leaders with private armies who imposed their own rules and taxes. These warlords had little regard for the ideals of the Republic. The people, exhausted by years of instability, found no peace. Cross Swords Warlord Era, 1916 to 1928. The Warlord era was marked by infighting and shifting alliances. Cities changed hands repeatedly. Railroads were cut. Local economies collapsed. Foreign powers, Japan, Britain, France, Russia, continued to influence politics, often backing warlords that suited their interests. The central government, first in Beijing and later in Nanjing, held little real power. All the while, opium remained a plague. Though officially banned, production and trafficking thrived under warlords and corrupt officials. Addiction remained a national crisis. Collision: the rise of the Kuomintang KMT. Chiang Kai-shek, a former military officer under Sun Yat-sen's Nationalist Party, Kuomintang or KMT, began consolidating power in the 1920s. He launched the Northern Expedition, a military campaign to unite China under one government and defeat the warlords. By 1928, Chiang had claimed nominal control of the country, moving the capital to Nanjing. But unity was only on paper. Seedling seeds of communist revolution. In the countryside, another movement was taking root, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, founded in 1921. Inspired by Marxist ideas and backed by the Soviet Union, the Communists sought to mobilize peasants and workers to overthrow both the warlords and the nationalists. Initially, the KMT and CCP cooperated, but tensions soon flared into full-scale conflict. Tornado: the Chinese Civil War. By the 1930s, China was again divided by ideology and violence. The nationalists, led by Chiang Kai-shek, clashed with Mao Zedong's communists. The Long March, 1934 to 1935, a 6,000-mile retreat by the communists, became a symbol of their determination and survival. Then came a pause, because a new threat loomed on the horizon: Japan-Japanese invasion and World War II. Japan, eager to dominate Asia, invaded Manchuria in 1931 and launched a full-scale invasion in 1937. The atrocities committed, especially in cities like Nanjing, left deep scars. The KMT and CCP formed a temporary alliance against the Japanese, but mistrust persisted. The war devastated China. Cities were bombed. Millions died. Opium production was revived in some regions by collaborators. The suffering was immense. Candle after the war, civil war resumes. With Japan's defeat in 1945, the fragile alliance between the communists and nationalists collapsed. Civil war resumed, fiercer than before. This time the communists had momentum. They promised land reform, equality, and an end to corruption. Peasants rallied to their cause. In 1949, Mao Zedong declared the founding of the People's Republic of China. The KMT retreated to the island of Taiwan. Classical building: a new empire rises? Though the Qing was gone, imperial echoes remained. Mao ruled with absolute authority. The dragon had changed its shape, but its shadow lingered. Mass campaigns, purges, and cultural upheavals marked the new era. Still, the old story, the story of opium, humiliation, and a slow-burning collapse, remained etched into China's memory. It would shape foreign policy, national pride, and a fierce desire to never be humiliated again. Globe showing Asia-Australia legacy of the opium century. Even today, the memory of the opium wars and Qing decline fuels China's cautious dealings with the West. The scars of addiction, exploitation, and foreign interference remain deep. National museums preserve the broken treaties and faded photos. Streets and parks are named after heroes like Lin Zexu. China would never forget. And as the dragon stirred in the 21st century, rising once again on the world stage, it carried the lessons of its collapse. That weakness invites vultures, that unity must be fought for, and that a nation's soul can be nearly lost when its people fall to despair. The slow-burning collapse of the Qing was not just a fall of a dynasty, it was a warning, a reckoning, and the beginning of a long, painful rebirth. And now, we sit in the stillness of history's quiet echo. The story of the Qing dynasty's slow fall is not just a tale of emperors and treaties, not merely the rise and ruin of palaces, or names carved into stone. It is a story of people, of choices, of sleepwalking through storms, an awakening only when it was far, far too late. Let us now look back, with eyes calm but open, let the pieces settle. There was a kingdom so vast it touched the sky. Mountains bowed to it. Rivers sang for it. Its people, poets, farmers, scholars, and weavers, believed it would last forever. But forever, as the Qing would learn, is made of delicate things. It began with tea, a simple drink, a leaf in hot water, soothing, humble. It ended with opium, a flower, a powder, a shadow in the veins. How strange, that one empire's craving for calm would become another's collapse. The British, in their hunger for tea, discovered that when you cannot trade goods, you can always trade weakness. Opium was not a weapon forged in steel, but it broke far more than swords ever could. It seeped past the guards. It crept into the palaces. It cradled the minds of the proudest men, and crumbled them from within. You might wonder, how could such a mighty empire fall to something as soft, as slow, as silent as smoke? But that is how rot works. You don't hear it, you don't feel it at first. And by the time you notice the cracks, they've already reached the foundation. There were heroes too. Let us not forget Commissioner Lin Zexu. He stood like a stone against the rising tide. He burned the opium. He begged the world to see sense, but he was punished, not for failure, but for honor. The dynasty he tried to save turned its back on him, and the world he tried to warn answered not with reason, but with warships. The treaties that followed were called peace, but they were made of knives. China was not conquered by conquest, but by paper, by ink, by humiliation. City by city, port by port, law by law, foreigners now walked proudly. In cities where the emperor's messengers once bowed, they built banks, laid rails, opened factories, and passed laws. For a country that was no longer theirs to rule, and still, in the smoke of 1,000 opium dens, a proud people forgot who they once were. The Taiping Rebellion showed the rage boiling beneath. Millions followed a man who believed he was divine. They did not understand his doctrine, but they understood his pain. The boxers too tried to drive the poison out, not just the drug, but the foreigners who brought it. But each time China rose, it fell again, heavier than before, because no army, no chant, no rebellion can stand when the soul of a nation has been dulled. By the early 1900s, China was not a dragon, it was a shadow. And the boy emperor, sweet wide-eyed Pui, was the last breath of a fading dream. He played in empty courtyards, listened to the echo of ancient rituals, and signed his name to the end of a world. The Qing had lasted nearly 300 years. But in its final days, felt so much smaller than when it began. And yet, though the dynasty fell, China did not disappear. No, this is not the story of a country dying. It is the story of a country waking up. The fall of the Qing was not the end of China, it was the end of how China had been. After 1912, the republics began, then warlords, then civil war, then occupation, then revolution. The 20th century would be loud, violent, complex, different, but inside it all was the same dragon. Weakened, yes, but watching, waiting, learning. And beneath the opium clouds, beneath the treaties and humiliation, China still remembered it was never truly broken. Only wounded. Now, as you lie quietly, perhaps you hear the wind passing through time. It carries whispers of dynasties and tea leaves, of ash and ink, of a nation dreaming and awakening again. History is not just something that happened. It is something that happens to us all. Gently, slowly, day by day, we do not always know when a great fall begins. Sometimes it is not with a war, but with a trade deal. Not with shouting, but with silence. So rest now, knowing that even the mightiest fall can teach the gentlest truths. That pride without humility becomes a weight too heavy. That poison may begin with profit, but ends in ruin. True peace cannot be forced by treaties or cannons, only by choice, and that empires, like people, must care not only for their borders, but for their souls. The dragon sleeps tonight, but it still breathes, and somewhere in the wind, a new story waits to begin.